Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. Forbes India Leadership Awards.
Since the launch of Forbes India Leadership Awards, Forbes India has been championing entrepreneurial capitalism in line with the Forbes DNA. Over the course of a decade, Forbes India Leadership Awards has recognized the finest of India Inc. The mission this year was to identify leaders and decision makers across key sectors who have not just safeguarded their businesses amid trying times, but also identified and implemented strategies for growth to thrive in the post-pandemic world. The 11th edition of Forbes India Leadership Awards was an evening that celebrated the spirit of entrepreneurship and provided a platform for thought-provoking discussions, Oxford-style debate, and glorious award ceremony.
Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to the 11th edition of Forbes India Leadership Awards in association with Leap India, Puma, and Farmeasy. The pandemic locked us in our homes for nearly 2 years. And this evening, we put the gloom and doom behind us to celebrate the leaders of the new world. Over the course of a decade, Forbes India Leadership Awards have recognized the finest of India Inc. The mission this year was to identify leaders and decision makers across key sectors who have not just safeguarded their businesses amidst trying times, but those that have also identified and implemented strategies for growth to thrive in the post-pandemic world. So to set the tone for the evening, may I first invite on stage Forbes India editor Brian Carvalho to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening and a warm welcome to the Forbes India Leadership Awards from all of us at Forbes India. When I say a warm welcome, I guess that means a lot more this year. And that's because we are finally in a room together. After 2 years, face to face, shaking hands, and soon clinking glasses. So when I say it's a pleasure to be here this evening with all of you, I mean it with all sincerity and gladness. Of course, we need to be watchful as we don't know what lurks ahead. This evening is about felicitating the icons of leadership. Leadership of the redefining and transformational type, in perhaps the most challenging period we will ever see for some time to come. I will also use this opportunity to thank our wonderful jury who chose the winners. Ms. Ashu Suyash, V. Vaidyanathan, Saurabh Mukherjee, Ankur Gupta, Rajat Dhawan, and our jury chair, Mr. Harsh Mariwala. Thank you for being patient and liberal with your time. We've added some new categories to reflect the times, like Unique Unicorn, Green Warrior, and Grassroots Philanthropist. I won't say any more. Let's head straight into the show and the awards. Sit back and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Brian. Let's kickstart the evening now. Neil Armstrong, the first man to step foot on the moon in 1969, said, "This is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And ever since, visionaries, leaders, trailblazers, and pioneers have all blazed a trail to forge ahead. This evening, our keynote speaker is one such trailblazer, or should we say, grandmaster. Please welcome five-time world chess champion, Grandmaster Viswanathan Anand.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. How does one approach a chess game? Well, you need a plan. What is a plan? It's just a sequence of events that you expect to happen. Ideally, controlled, that you have foreseen in advance. And that is exactly how I go about it. When I'm going to play against someone, you can always go with the base plan, which is I'm just going to go out there and play the best moves as I see them, and I'll let that take me where it goes. But you can take it one step further and see, who is my opponent today? What makes my opponent tick? What are they good at? What are they bad at? And then I try to visualize scenarios. You have to have a balance of optimistic and realistic scenarios. Realistic, unfortunately, is that your weapons will probably miss the target and you won't get the position you want. And there, how I go about it is I try to think in every situation that I find myself in, do I have enough to cope? Is there anything unexpected that could happen to me? So one of the things every chess player tries to do is to develop some extra new material, something new, cutting edge that hasn't been fully mapped out anywhere. And you try to work on this and get ready to go to the board and pose your opponent these new problems. In this situation, you're balancing the amount of routine and predictability with the risk you need to get that extra reward. And then you have to work on your core strengths, because most games at some point will transition back to what you're familiar with. And then you'll have to start executing. So you practice for that. And that's the trade-off. So that's how I approach a tournament, and I try to set myself up for success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for allowing us that peek into your thinking and your strategy. That was a very insightful talk, and I'm sure the Fila gathering will walk away richer for it. And now, from one interesting chat to another, may I please welcome back on stage Forbes India's editor, Brian Carvalho, for a tete-a-tete with the first non-family professional MD and CEO of the Mahindra Group, the elusive Dr. Anish Shah. Welcome, Dr. Anish Shah. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you, Dr. Shah, for agreeing to do this. So let's probably start with that first question of what does it take really to lead a diversified group like Mahindra, right? You have operations in auto, farm, holidays, finance, IT services. So what is the approach here as the group CEO? How do you look at it?
Brian, first, it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. And with regard to what does it take to lead a diversified company like ours, I go back to what someone told me many years ago, which was to get control, you have to give up control. I'd never really understood it at that point in time. But over the years, I've practiced a lot more of that, which is empowerment with the teams. We are a federation of companies. We have great leaders across all our businesses. And it's about giving them control to be able to do what they need to do. At the same time, it's maintaining a fiscal discipline and having the ability to take hard calls where required to be able to reward our investors in terms of what they need. So it's a combination of that.
So that brings me to what Anand Mahindra would say, that, we function like PVC investors, right? And the group is a federation of companies, and we allocate money to who kind of deserves it or who wants it, right? So do you still follow that approach, and what are the benefits from such an approach?
So let me start with the benefits first. If we go back to 2002 when the Nifty was created, for a period of 17 years since then, till 2018, M&M was the best performing stock in the Nifty. And that was really driven by the federation of companies, by giving freedom to entrepreneurs within the group to create value, and by strong fiscal discipline as well. So that is a formula that has worked very well for many years. And that's really one for us to take forward.
And as Sumaira said, you're the first non-family professional to be heading the group, right? So what's the message here for stakeholders?
If I were to look back before I joined the Mahindra Group, I always looked at the group with a lot of admiration. Admiration for its values, for what it stood for its philosophy of RISE, which was to drive positive change to enable communities to rise. And when I got this opportunity, I would frankly say that I was deeply honored and privileged. And more importantly, it was the responsibility to continue this legacy. But beyond that, it's not as much about me. I think what this holds in terms of significance is that this is an Indian multinational, a proud Indian multinational that is run by professionals with the power of the legacy that it has.
I think that's a very inspirational note to end on. And thank you, Dr. Shah. Thank you.
Forbes India Leadership Awards. Forbes India Leadership Awards.
We're now going to get to the first set of awards. It's time to honor excellence in corporate leadership. So the first award this evening is for the category of Outstanding Startup. So let's hear from jury member Saurabh Mukherjee, the founder of Marcellus Investment Managers, on what they were looking for in the winner.
When we discussed amongst ourselves what were the three things we wanted an outstanding startup to have, I think three criteria stood out. We said that we wanted a startup which had carved out for itself a distinctive niche in its first 5 to 7 years of existence. Secondly, we said we wanted to back a strong, sustainable platform. And thirdly, leadership pipeline, right? It's important that we gave the Outstanding Startup Award to a startup with a strong leadership pipeline, a pipeline that can build the business over the next 5 to 15 years.
May I also invite on stage Mr. Harsh Mariwala, Chairman of Marico, and Sunu Matthew, Founder and Managing Director of Leap India, to please join Brian in presenting this award. And the first winner of the evening, the winner of Forbes India Leadership Awards 2022 Outstanding Startup, goes to Boat.
Thanks to the jury for selecting Boat. It's been a dream run for us. We're just a 5-year-old startup, and we've scaled immensely well. Doing about $500 million of revenue. It's a dream come true for me and Aman from where we started, and now we have Vivek with us, who's going to take us to greater heights, and we hope we can keep rocking as we have been. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. And with that, we'll move forward now to the next award this evening. Our second award is for the category Best Grassroots Philanthropist. And to tell you more about it, let's hear from jury member Rajat Dhawan, Managing Partner at McKinsey India.
While discussing all the worthy nominees in the category of grassroots philanthropists, we actually took a look at a couple of lenses. Firstly, we were very keen to see who has gone beyond the scope of just doing mandated CSR. So we looked at who has really been contributing a substantial portion of their net worth towards creating real social impact. And second, we tried to recognize systematic, strategic, and sustained philanthropy over a period of time that has been direction setting in the respective spheres. So again, it was to go beyond the check the box CSR.
And the Best Grassroots Philanthropist Award goes to Rohini Nilekani, Chairperson of the Rohini Nilekani Philanthropies. We congratulate Ms. Nilekani. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us this evening, but she did send us a little message.
Namaste everyone. I'm delighted and honored to be selected as the Grassroots Philanthropist of the Year. Indian philanthropy is at a very exciting stage now, I do believe. And I think many new trends, and especially the one that warms my heart the most, is that young people who are having the opportunity and the luck and the blessing to be successful early in their lives have quickly realized the responsibility of their incoming wealth and have been giving it forward very smartly and very quickly. And that makes me really happy as a new trend.
And now we take a short break from the awards this evening and dive into an exclusive chat with one of India's brightest sportspersons, the vice captain of the Indian cricket team, KL Rahul, in conversation with Forbes India's Kathakali Chanda.
KL Rahul, welcome to the Forbes India Leadership Awards. Is the leader's role something you prepare for, or does it come from within?
I think it's a bit of both. I don't think you can dive into leadership role without any preparation. It does require a lot of preparation. It does require you to spend a lot of time with your teammates and making sure that they know exactly what is the responsibility or the role that is expected out of them. And you really put in the hours at training and make sure that you're ticking all the boxes and giving yourself the best chance to be best prepared for the game. Yes, the results aren't always in our control and won't always go according to our liking. But I think if we work hard enough and if we have the right direction and if our heart and mind is in the right place and we always put the team ahead of ourselves, more often than not, the results will follow.
What defines a leader's legacy? Is it the results during their tenure or the respect they've commanded from the team?
We live in a world where results do matter. The results, the numbers are what the outside world judges a person's leadership skill or leadership quality on. If the process is right, if we've worked really hard as a team, our heart and mind is in the right place. We've always put our team ahead of personal goals and personal interests. If we have done all those things right, then sooner or later the result will follow, and for that you will be respected as well. But I think, again, like I said, for me, I try and spend that time, try and understand my players, understand everybody in the team, where they come from, what they're feeling, or what are their goals, what they want to achieve, and how I can help them achieve it.
We'll end the conversation on that note. It was a pleasure chatting with you, KL Rahul. Thank you so much for your time and all the best for the coming tournaments.
Thank you so much, Kathakali. KL, thank you very, very much for that interesting chat. This evening, we have an interesting pair coming up to discuss all things business, entrepreneurship, starting up, growth, and more. At the first of its kind, Founders Corner, please welcome Harsh Mariwala on stage once again. And joining him at the Founders Corner, please welcome Tarun Sharma, co-founder and MD, M Caffeine, a new age entrepreneur who has taken a single ingredient, coffee, and has built a personal care brand out of it.
One of the first questions came to me was, give us some anecdotes in your early stages when you started working. And I started working at a very young age of 20. I built up the business from bottoms up, and when I started building the business, I had to travel in interior markets. Unlike your business, which is done through online, we had to go to small villages, appoint distributors, and we didn't have any professionals. I just took a car and started. I remember started from Nagpur and went all the small towns, appointed distributors, started retailing. In those days, there were no hotels in small towns. So I have appointed distributors and stayed with them in the night, in their house. So, as an entrepreneur, then you have to find some ways to resolve issues. And one big issue which I resolved, which was really big, it took me 2 to 3 years to resolve, was when, I was trapped from different angles. It was a family managed organization. My father, 3 of his brothers, by then 4 of my cousins had joined business. And it was very, very difficult to manage with so many family members in terms of freedom to recruit talent. It was perceived to be a family managed organization. So how do you separate that from that time, the Bombay Oil Industries, with having different businesses with so many family members, and go into a dedicated consumer product business under Marico? And it took me 2 to 3 years. And many times, people think that you have to move fast. But in a family managed organization, and for those who are family, it's worth spending that time to arrive at a consensus. But this was a consensus decision. It was not a ownership separation. It was just a management separation, wherein I just said that give me freedom to operate this business in a different company. I don't want any extra ownership stake. And at some stage, I was able to succeed.
And I've gone through the entire book. I've read your book. So I'm pretty much familiar of how the story, and Rishabh being a very good friend.
Yes.
But we keep on learning from you. I mean, our journey is very small, 5-year old. But I think one of the anecdotes for us was when we used to raise capital. We were bootstrapped for a while, and then we raised some capital in between. We were asked always that, has someone done this globally? And we kept on asking back that, how would someone do this in India for the first time? If we keep on asking this question, we're going to look for inspiration in the country, and the way large in traditionally or earlier things have been done, we would want to just change the operating way of doing it, and probably try to follow the path of how probably America has done, and we're still far away from where we are.
But you're on the right track. My son is an investor, and I was told today, I didn't even know that he had invested 2.5% of his company stake is my son.
Yes.
And he talked so highly of you. And when he knew that I was going to meet you today, he's saying that fantastic, because he's saying these guys have done amazing work and they are going to go miles. So he's a very happy investor. I think his stock has appreciated quite a lot, but he's looking at much more appreciation.
Forbes India Leadership Awards. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.